Good morning. Please find your seats and prepare for this morning's service. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson. My name is Kate Heald, and I am your service leader for today. To those of you who are here with us in the sanctuary, please be advised that this service is being streamed on YouTube, and on the website there is a link to a Zoom event. We would still, of course, rather have you here in person. Please make sure that you read the announcements in your printed order of service. Also be sure to read the weekly events that are mailed to you each Thursday, as well as the website. I urge you to keep the website open as a tab on your internet browser so you can keep up with all of the things that are happening. We are a rowdy bunch. Here is an announcement for parents. If you need to occupy your young folks, and today that means tiny kids, maybe 1 to 3, we do have toys and books in the back of the social hall. The older kids, who are probably already out there, have a big water event today. And so let's see, is either Jonathan or Bethany here? Hi, Bethany. So Bethany is in the back, and if you have any questions about that, she can answer them. All right, thank you, Bethany. We hope, this is a big announcement, this is the annual meeting. We hope that as many members of our congregation as possible will stay for the annual congregational meeting. It is extremely important from a procedural point of view that we have the necessary quorum to hold the meeting. It is extremely important from a procedural point of view that we have the necessary quorum to hold the meeting. And even more important from the democratic point of view, we want everyone's voice to be heard. But we do want our members to be comfortable during the meeting, so we will have a 15-minute break before we start. There are refreshments available, but please respect the meeting time, recalling that we do not allow food in the sanctuary. And don't forget to sign in for the meeting, as we must document the quorum. Flowers today are from Regina Moody in honor of our Board of Trustees, those whose terms of service are coming to a close, those who will be continuing in board leadership positions, and those who will begin their work on our behalf on July 1st. Now please silence all your electronic devices as we center ourselves for today's service and listen to the prelude.
All of the music in this morning's service is by Norbert Capek, who was a poet and also a composer who wrote over 200 hymns. Our prelude, Be Grateful, My Soul, has music by Elizabeth Alexander, but the words are adapted from a poem by Norbert Capek. He wrote this on March 31st, 1942, from the Dresden prison, and it was in the last letter that he gave to his daughter. It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. O blow ye evil winds into my body's fire, my soul you'll never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight, and everything would worthless seem, I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living. He who was pressed from all sides but remained victorious in spirit is welcomed into the choir of heroes. He who overcame the fetters, giving wings to his mind, is entering into the golden age of the victorious. Even though 1,000 times disappointed and fallen in the fight, even though faced with a world that now seems worthless,
Thank you, Anna. Please stand and join me in the congressional affirmation as found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, thus do we covenant with one another. Please have a seat. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we side with love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We have been officially designated by the Unitarian Universalist Association a welcoming congregation that welcomes LGBTQ+ individuals. We especially welcome families and young children. We've already announced what's happening today with that, but again, those of you who might need assistance with caring for or entertaining young children or getting them to the right activity, Bethany is in the back and can help with that. Now let's recognize those who do the work of this congregation. Board members, please stand. Notice that they wear green name tags and always welcome your comments. Committee chairs, please stand and join them. Committee chairs, there we go. Yeah. At this time, we would like to recognize any guests or visitors who are with us today. Emilio, if you would help me, please. So visitors, if you are willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you are from. Or if you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them. Please wait for the microphone.
I'm Charles. I'm from Newberry, South Carolina. I'm just listening to that.
And you project well, Charles. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome.
Just short to fulfill. I'm married. I'm his husband, so I was moving with him to here.
Welcome to South Carolina.
Complicated because I'm German, and the Americans are a little bit afraid of aliens, so I'm quite welcoming.
My name is Bob Lundgren. I lived out in the country near Orangeburg. And so you might say, well, how did I get here? Well, we were living in the Midwest, and my wife wanted to go back and live where she grew up. We built a house next door to her brother. Richard Huller is my good friend. I've known him for good many years. And he's introduced me to the Unitarian Church.
Welcome. Any more visitors? Oh, okay.
Does it work? Does it work?
No.
Well, I'll try to speak loudly like everybody else did. My name is Babette, and I have been in here a couple of weeks ago. I used to be a member here
Welcome, Babette. All right, well, visitors, you certainly don't have to, but we would love for you to fill out a visitor card and put it in the collection plate. You'll find one on the back of the chair in front of you. That way we can send you our newsletter and emails. However, no one will come knocking at your door. We promise. Unless you invite us, in which case we're glad to come. We encourage everyone to wear a name tag so we can get to know each other better. At this time, please take a minute to greet each other. Turn to those around you and offer a pleasant greeting with a handshake or a fist bump and a big smile. All right, thank you. If we could please come back to order. All right, everyone. I know, you're excited, it's spring. So in a minute, Stephen Robinson will light our chalice. And I would like to take this moment to say Happy Pride Month to everyone. And as an almost personal plea, I would say, remember that love is love, healthy relationships are healthy relationships, responsible sex is responsible sex, and gender is a fluid social construct. So, Stephen, if you could light our chalice.
I invite you to join in singing our opening hymn, number 8, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. Both words and music were written by Norbert Capek and is in your gray hymnal. Please stand as you're willing and able to join in singing.
Spirit,
Good morning. If you are sitting on that side of the sanctuary, every once in a while you're probably going to hear the joyous laughter and things that are happening outside with the kids just outside the door there. But I have locked that door so that you can't get out. So, sorry. I did it for myself because I don't know if you noticed that at the beginning of the service I was out there instead of in here and had to be, forced to come in. But here I am with you. And I promise I'm happy to be here. Yes, sorry about that. Our opening words today come from Joseph Campbell in his book, Pathway to Bliss. Joseph Campbell being a mythologist, an expert in mythology. For me, he grounded me spiritually when, in watching an interview with Bill Moyers trying to identify Joseph Campbell's spirituality, Campbell responded, "I am a dabbler." And I thought, for the first time, I just found someone that described me when it comes to religion and spirituality and mythology, a dabbler. And he admitted, I'll never be as confident and as solid and as peaceful as someone that absolutely knows what they know, but I am a dabbler. So from the dabbler's lips, here are our opening words. Now, all these myths that you have heard and that resonate with you, those are the elements from roundabout that you are building into a form in your life. The thing worth considering is from how they relate to each other in your context. Not how they relate to something out there, how they were relevant on the North American prairies or in the Asian jungles hundreds of years ago, but how they are relevant now. Unless, by contemplating their former meaning, you can begin to amplify your own understanding of the role they play in your life. Like a flower, potential in its seed, the blossom of the realization of love is potential in every heart and requires only proper cultivation to be fostered to maturity. This time I welcome you, those who are sharing candles of community. For our joys and our concerns are in this place. We always have a time in our service for you to share and be able to let this community share that joy with you, share that concern with you. We have candles each Sunday in the foyer that you can pick to light. So at this time, if you are sharing our joy or concern, I invite you to come down front and share it and light your candle and place it in our chalice here.
Hi, I'm Joan Watterson, and I'm lighting this candle in celebration of the life of Sandy Chubon, who died this past week. Sandy was a long-time member of our congregation and had a lot of leadership positions in her long time here. But I think the thing that most of us remember her for is bringing cookies into the social hour. She used to sit back there and watch, and people would come, and we just had coffee, and the children would run around, and the young families would leave, and she said, we need to keep them here longer, so let's have cookies. So this is for Sandy.
Hi, I'm Bethany, and
I'm Charles.
If you had seen a lot of orange shirts over the weekend, maybe you were out and about stores or whatnot and kind of wondered about it, I wanted to take a moment to explain. Moms Demand Action has a nationwide event during this weekend, and we were fortunate enough to participate over at Bethlehem Baptist Church all day yesterday, water slides, community networking, raising awareness, mostly raising awareness about gun violence and giving voice to people who have lost friends and loved ones to the gun violence. So it has nothing to do with Clemson, just wanted to explain that. I also wanted to light a candle for Clara. Those of you who know Clara, who came to us via California and is a young adult who's worked in our nursery for the past several months. If you get an opportunity, please say goodbye to her and thank her. This is her last day, and I felt really fortunate to have had an opportunity to get to know her. And I don't see the other Bethany. I'm gonna miss being able to say that. Other Bethany and Andrew and Marianne also are going to be leaving our congregation. They are heading to Michigan. So if you have an opportunity, reach out to that wonderful family as well and wish them well.
Good morning. I'm Connie Quirk. This is a candle of sympathy and concern. Most of you know Sandra Merritt. Her mother fell Friday, I think it was, broke her hip. And then when she went to the hospital, she's in her 90s, early 90s, they found a mass on her brain. So if you would keep her family in your minds, because she has 3 other siblings and they are probably going through a very rough time. And as you know, I am very well aware of what she's going through because I had to deal with that many times. My mother had quite a few falls before she passed. And just because Bethany Muller and her family were discussed, they're not here today because they are having a go away, drop in at their house, and they will be leaving very soon. And they were wonderful, and we wish them a really good time. They're going back to where they're from. They're going back, they'll be around family. Their daughter will grow up with her cousins, and so they felt like that was very important.
Hi, I'm Robin Shearer, and I'm the finance chair, ending very soon. You've heard me come up here and talk about how we needed more in pledges and we needed more help, and we really want to invest for the future and all that. And I just want to say thank you because we were able to meet. We had to revise our budget a little bit, but we still were able to achieve the majority of our goals. And I just wanted to say thank you. So having done the pleas for months, I thought now I should say a big thank you, and we'll talk more about the budget in the congregational meeting. So hats off to you.
Hi, we're Bud and Chuck. And we would like to wish everybody a happy Pride Month.
I'd also like to light a candle for a friend of our congregation. Many of you know Janice Klein, her son Miles. We remember her right now and holding them close in the death of Warren, who attended our church. Warren died last Saturday. Of course, we always hold a space here for the joys and concerns that are held silently, but held together in community. I invite you to take a few deep breaths and think about all that you've heard, all that you've felt, and share your love, your energy, your joy, your sympathy, your grief, and your emotions as we sit silently together. As we prepare for our offering this morning, a reminder that our Share the Plate recipient this month is the Good Samaritan Clinic. So you can find different ways by reading in our order of service or in our Thursday news announcement ways that you can contribute to the work of the Good Samaritan Clinic. This time, I invite our ushers to come and receive our morning offering.
Our offertory music is View the Starry Realm, with words by Norbert Chaplain and music by Borana Hospice.
Receive our offering today, a symbol of our commitment to our good work. Thank you, Kate, for reminding us that June begins a month of celebration of Pride Month, a 54th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, and a great opportunity for us as a congregation to show our support to a community that in this day and age, the culture that we are currently live in, absolutely need to be reminded that they have places that are safe, places that are supportive. We're also celebrating today the 100th anniversary of the flower communion ritual, which is an annual ritual that we do typically on Easter every year. A flower communion where all of our members are invited to bring flowers from home or from Trader Joe's or wherever you might pick them or grow them and bring them to the service and share. And if you've never participated in our flower communion, all the flowers are present here. It is a reminder for us of the beauty of creation. It is a reminder of the diversity around us and all that it brings. And of course, everyone is invited to take a different flower home than the one they brought, thus making it a communion ritual together. That ritual was created by Norbert Capek 100 years ago on the day, on June 4th in 1923. So I thought it'd be great today, and his picture is on the front of our order of service, if you were wondering. I can't remember if Cindy put his name is there. So I thought it'd be great today to learn a little bit about Norbert Capek, especially since we often in our flower ritual may share a couple of pieces of his history, but don't often get to tell his full story. And I'm so grateful today that Anna has introduced us to the full story of Capek through his music and through his poetry. And so I want to share a little bit about Reverend Capek and especially focus on some key things and principles that he brought to us as a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Norbert Fabian Capek was born on June 3rd, 1870, and lived until October of 1942. He was a minister from Czechoslovakia of extraordinary ability. He spent a few years in the United States and then returned in 1921 to his native country to build a church in Prague in what soon became the largest Unitarian church in the world. He was born in a small Bohemian village, the only child of Joseph Capek and Marie Merrick. Joseph was a tailor and a religious agnostic, and Marie was a devout Roman Catholic. Great combination. Reminds me of the many relationships that are present in this room today. At age 10, Norbert became an acolyte at St. Martin's Church, but soon after was disillusioned by the priest's cynical attitudes toward life, toward spirituality, and his behavior toward his parishioners as well. At the age of 18, Capek resigned from the Roman Catholic Church and was baptized as a Baptist. How about that? See, I always felt a common spirit with Norbert Capek. Now I know why, as I myself started in the Baptist tradition. As a matter of fact, the first time after moving to Columbia 20 years ago, I visited the Unitarian Universalist congregation. At the time, the minister was Neil Jones, who was a friend. I came and visited, and someone, I won't say who, but I think they might be here today, met me at the door and said, I introduced myself, and they said, you know, what are you? And I was like, I work at the hospital. What's your faith tradition? I'm a Baptist minister. And this is the look. I'll try to imitate the look. And this is the comment that I got. They were like, And the comment was, are you sure you're in the right place? I'm like, I don't know. The good news is, January, I celebrated 4 years of being the minister here, and I still get met at the door with the same look and the same question. Are you sure you're in the right place? I don't know. Sorry, David Bryan. You know he's the one that met me at the door, so. He always says nice things. None of those things. I make it up. At the age of 18, Capek was working as an apprentice in a tailor's shop and had this chance encounter with someone that came in. This is the way Baptists do it. I come in to get my suit tailored, and I evangelize you, and then you become a Baptist. And that's how he started his journey down the Baptist church and eventually becoming a Baptist minister, being a Bible distributor and a Baptist evangelist. And imagine that, on a cover of our UUCC, a Bible distributor and a Baptist evangelist in Moravia. He founded almost a dozen churches from the Ukraine to Budapest. His faith eventually and slowly became more liberal, more free. His research in the Moravian archives actually introduced him to free Christian faith that was native to his people, even though it had been forgotten and the church had said basically that they brought religion to the people. In some of his papers, he documented what he considered the Bohemian and Moravian roots of free faith that was for him and himself that he was struggling to articulate. He praised the religious convictions of his Moravian roots, and he wrote, "They valued the spiritual life above any teaching or any dogmatic." He later described that writing as completely Unitarian in conception and purpose, even though he didn't know it yet. He played a significant role in the international religious organization that's now called the International Association for Religious Freedom, that was founded by Unitarians in the early 1900s. He later became a leader in that movement and officer in the Unitarian Association. Capek attended congresses in London, Copenhagen, Boston, and Oxford, and he frequently published papers supporting Unitarian and liberal religion. He was outspoken in his, as a minister, his anti-minister approach, and believed that institutionalized religion was a threat to the spiritual focus of religion. Even though he still accepted a call to serve different churches and made his way to the U.S., he lived in New York, in Newark, New Jersey, and then, as I read earlier, eventually decided to return home in 1921 to his home country. He worked very hard during World War I, writing and speaking in a campaign to win government support for the independence of Czechoslovakia. And as he returned to this newly independent country, continued that work. He had married his wife Maya, and together with their daughter Boldana and her husband Karel, they built a vigorous nationwide religious movement. In 20 years, the Unitarian Church in Prague became large with 3,200 members. And it was the largest Unitarian congregation in the world. And many Czechs believe, because of Norbert Capek, that they considered themselves Unitarian. 8,000 of them at the time considered themselves Unitarian. He created institutions based on his ideas about education. Nearly 300 children and young people were enrolled in the church school. And it was his idea. He invented the water slide that we have out there. No, I'm sorry, I misread that. Don't give him credit for everything. But as he continued his work in supporting education of young people, he provided classes for expectant parents, marriage counseling, conflict resolution courses, and grief counseling for those who suffered losses. This traditional Christian communion for this church was a service of bread and wine, and it didn't really meet the needs of his congregation because his church, like ours here today, were full of people who have many different beliefs about many different things. We are in a room full of dabblers. Capek then turned to the beauty of the countryside and to the beauty of flowers, and in 1923, he developed the flower ceremony, asking his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, their fields, Trader Joe's, or the roadside, and invited each person to place a flower in the vase and then return home with a different flower. On the 28th of March, 1941, Capek and his daughter Zora, who was 29 at the time, were arrested and taken to the Pankrat prison. Zora was accused of listening to foreign broadcasts and distributing the content of BBC transmissions. Capek himself was accused of listening to foreign broadcasts and of high treason. Several of his sermons were cited as evidence of the latter charge. Listening to foreign broadcasts was an offense, and 2 separate trials were held soon after their arrest. The second was in the appeal of the original decision at Dresden in April 1942. The appeals court found Capek innocent of the treason charge, recommending that given his age and the year between his arrest and the appeals trial, that all of that could be counted toward his jail time and he could be released. Instead, that recommendation was ignored, and he was sent to Dachau. Capek's name then appears among prisoners sent on a transport on October 12th, 1942, where he died of poison gas. Of the half dozen books that he authored, he considered Toward a Sunnier Shore his most important work. On the eve of World War II, at a time of great sadness, he said he wanted that book to spread a few rays of sunshine into the world, and reminded us that it's an essential message that people can choose their own moods and direct their own feelings. Try everything with humor. The book recommends life that is very similar to Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. Many of us know the story of Frankl, who was also a prisoner in a concentration camp, and the story of Frankl, who was breaking rocks in the field and feeling the weight of the oppression and depression sneaking in, and instead decided to imagine himself, instead of breaking rocks in this field with his legs chained together, breaking rocks in his garden, or breaking up the soil in his garden and planting flowers with his wife. And at that moment was transcended from the experience of the present moment. I think about these two deep thinkers in the harshest of conditions came to the same conclusion, that you can choose your attitude, choose and create your experience no matter what your circumstances. Frankl writes that a human's inner strength can raise them above their outward circumstance toward freedom. I am reminded of Harvey Milk's influence by Frankl, and you can hear it in his words when he says, "I have tasted freedom and I will not give it up." Norbert Capek celebrated the hidden cry for harmony with the infinite in every soul. Hear those words again. The hidden cry for harmony with the infinite in every soul. He believed because of this inner cry, this hidden inner cry for harmony with the infinite, that religion would never die. Because even back then, finance chairs were making speeches and talking about the future being bleak. Sorry, Robin, you're almost done. But even in the midst of that despair, Capek would say, religion will never die because of this inner cry for harmony with the infinite. I think if Capek lived today, he might substitute that word with spirituality and say spirituality will never die because of the freedom of that word and the diversity of that expression in the word spirit. This is what we believe in this community. This is what we nurture in this community. Just speaking that phrase points us to something that we all recognize, a feeling that we all recognize, a level even deeper than desire, a hidden cry and a longing for harmony and connection to something greater than ourselves. I can remember that longing I felt as a child. And at the same time, I can remember how suffocating it felt to be told that this one way is the only way to find harmony and connection to something greater than myself. I can remember how limiting it felt to have this infinite mystery described as God or a particular God. I experienced it in different ways. I experienced it in different places, sitting in the woods alone and feeling deeply connected and trying to give voice to that, but being told, but that was God. I experienced it in the stories of other religions, to which I was told, but they are wrong. I experienced it in other places and feeling connected to myself and deeply connected to another person and knowing that that was sacred. Also being told, but you can't trust that. The great education guru Jack Mesereau says transformation happens in these disorienting dilemmas. And eventually I found the freedom to let go of the contrary but statements of explanation, and I trusted my search for truth and meaning and realized I was a dabbler. Trusted the inner cry for harmony with the infinite wherever I found it. What better way to describe this spiritual community here? The treasure that we have as a place that recognizes the inner cry for harmony with the infinite and intentionally creates a free environment here for everyone to pursue that path toward harmony in their own way. And for most of us, in multiple ways. We have sacrificed our but statements, sacrificed our buts for and statements. And I just realized that's a pretty catchy phrase for us. Publicity committee, listen in. That's our new catchphrase. Hashtag, we sacrificed our butts. You heard it here first. What we realized is you can hold on to meaningful ways that you've had since childhood that caused you to feel connected and find new ways as well. There's a story of a group of soldiers that lost a comrade in battle and wanted to give him a proper burial. And so he found a church and knocked on the door of the priest and asked the priest if they could bury their soldier, their comrade, in the cemetery. The priest said, well, we only bury members of this congregation in that cemetery, so we will not allow it. But you can bury him just outside the fence. And so the next day, the soldiers came back after doing the burial to pay their last respects as they moved on, and they couldn't find his grave. And they were worried that something had happened, so they knocked on the door of the priest and said, we can't find the grave. And the priest said, well, I have to admit something. It was dark last night. We were exhausted, and you were not disoriented. After you left, I found that I could not sleep. So I went outside early this morning and I moved the fence. What a beautiful image of what we do spiritually here, where so many religions build fences. We move them. We say, you are not accepted somewhere, you are accepted here. Your search for truth is not valid, it is here. Your quest for meaning in your life is not celebrated by your history or your family. We welcome, we celebrate it, we nurture it in this place. We move fences. Hashtag, we sacrifice our butts for and statements. You know, if I keep hashtagging it, eventually it's gonna take, right? We are a place that constantly nurtures that diverse environment and free environment for the inner cry for harmony with the infinite to be experienced. Capek's words associated with the flower communion. In closing, he writes, infinite spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these, the messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion. My hope is for the UUCC, amidst all that we say and do, all of our important work, that we continue to be a place that nurtures a finite human hidden cry for harmony and connection to something infinite, and blesses the multiple paths that cry leads us all on.
I invite you to join in singing our closing hymn, number 78, Color and Fragrance, with words and music by Norbert Chaplain. We'll sing together verses 1 through 4, and then I invite you to follow with your eyes as I read verses 5 and 6. I also invite you, as each verse ends with the statement, God's vision growing, To imagine that word God taking whatever form is meaningful to you, or even choosing to sing the word love, life, or another word in which you find meaning. Burns the soul of living, illumines the altars of loving giving. Greeting we meet, seeing light brightly glowing, share in a greater life, God's vision growing. Shaper of all things to us you've given, our chance to keep here on earth a heaven. Moving in harmony, light gently glowing, may we be, gratefully, God's vision growing.
Thank you. As you remain standing for our closing words, they've already been shared with you, but worth repeating. Norbert Capek, which we believe are some of the last words that he wrote in a letter to his daughter shortly before his death, writes, "It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow ye evil winds into my body's fire, my soul you'll never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight and everything would worthless seem, I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul, my life was worth living."
Please join in our congregational benediction.
I'd like to welcome again our guests, those of you who yelled out your names so passionately in our service. We're so thankful that you're here. We hope you stick around. We're going to have some time to gather for a social time. I hope you stick around and get to know us. Let us get to know you. And we know if you do that, you'll definitely be back. I do have, it's true, right? I do have 3 announcements as far as the annual meeting goes. Number 1 is to check in the foyer to confirm your attendance and pick up the materials. So the membership committee is already in the foyer ready for that to happen. Number 2, please take a quick comfort break. That's a nice way to put it, if needed. And then number 3, please have a quick snack and a cold, hard drink. I added the word hard. Just a cold drink in the social hall. We will sound the bell and reconvene at 12:15, so about 20 minutes, in the sanctuary to begin our annual meeting. Thank you all for being here today. I think we need to set it up on a table.
Do we have a table to set it up?
Yeah, I believe so. Hey, can we get a quick table set up?
Oh, yeah. You want a long one?
One that was